Hi, I'm Thomas Bottoms. I'm a Chicago-based stand-up comedian. I am the producer of The Offensive Line and the co-producer of Hound Dog Comedy, a Thursday night showcase at the 240 Lounge in glamorous Albany Park right next to the Admiral Theater. I'm here because I'm banging the director.
Hi, I'm Natalie Namarella. I'm excited to be a guest again today on The Offensive Line, and I produce a monthly comedy show called Natalie's Comedy Funhouse, part of Flabby Hoffman's Three-Ring Circus over in Wicker Park.
Hi, I'm Chicago-based comedian Murphy Rowe. I'm also the on-field MC for the Schaumburg Boomers and co-producer of Hound Dog Comedy at the 240 Lounge Thursday nights.
Hi, I'm Chevy Debbie. I'm a stand-up comedian from Jokes and Notes. I'm here with Thomas Bottoms, filming, I forgot the name of the show, but I'm here.
Hi, my name is Bobby Hill. I'm a local comedian here in Chicago. I travel the country doing shows all over. I'm also part of 2.5 Black Men, a comedy collective that also does shows as a group, and have a new show starting here at the end of the month called Hush Hush Comedy at Fishman's Liquors. I'm here today with a bunch of other comics talking about our crazy roommates.
Hi, I'm Thomas Bottoms, and this is The Offensive Line. And I'm joined today with the fabulous Chevy Debbie, the remarkable Natalie Namaralla, the great Murphy Rowe, and our special guest, Bobby Hill. And today's topic, we are talking about roommates, particularly bad roommates. So we are not going, only the guilty and the inadequate need to be worried. Now, Chevy Debbie, what is your current living situation, and have you had roommate situations in the past?
I live alone,
That sounds like a cheer. Okay.
but I have a visitor. I'll talk about her later.
Now, Natalie, what is your currently living situation? Do you have any roommates?
No, I currently live alone.
High five, girl.
Yeah. I like to just walk around in my underwear and eat popcorn and watch any movie where someone has a British accent, so that's best done completely alone. But I have had two in particular really terrible roommate situations. I mean, three if you count my ex-husband, but I'm just counting the two legitimate roommates, and I'm looking forward to talking about those later. Yeah.
Yeah, you really, this is dealing strictly with like platonic roommates, because live-in lovers, you can get the apologetic oral sex, and that kind of works as a forgiveness. It's like, honey, I'm sorry I borrowed $20 without telling you. Tonight you get anal. It works a little bit differently, I think.
I don't know about all that.
I think the worst living situation I ever had was with my ex-wife. I think that's the worst stories I will ever tell you about the living situation I had with her.
But these are bad roommates that you cannot sleep with.
Yes. Murphy, what is your current living situation?
I currently live with a buddy of mine, and we have my girlfriend stays with us a bunch and puts a lot of her stuff at our place, and
You must love that.
oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
We charge her for it.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Like a prostitute.
Like
Hosanna.
in Eiffel Towers, how many?
Hosanna.
If you look at it that way, sure. Yep.
Hosanna.
Purely definition. Yep.
And how long have you had this roommate, Murphy?
About a year and a half.
And have you had roommate situations in the past?
All sorts.
All sorts of roommate situations. And how about you, Bobby Hill? What's your living situation?
I currently have a roommate. I have never actually lived alone, so I have only had roommates throughout my entire life from birth until today. So my current roommate is a music producer, which means that my hours have adjusted along with that. And I do have some roommate stories that have been kind of weird and interesting and all kinds of things. So.
All right, I'm excited. I'm currently living with the director, who I'm banking.
Hey,
we just celebrated our 3-year anniversary, which means we have funeral plots in gay time. And I've had various roommate situations. I've lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with 4 other adults, including a woman and a baby.
It's a weird thing for a gay guy to do.
That is a weird thing for me to do.
Metal or something.
I don't. Did I
Is
have?
that a 90s sitcom?
It might have been. It might have been.
It was Real World 27. I don't know if you saw it.
But every roommate I ever had, I put them out.
Sounds like you have a high threshold of tolerance for roommates.
Yeah, if you don't pay your rent, you gotta go.
That's a big one.
See,
definitely
that's a big. See, you bring
If you
up
don't clean up, I don't have no problem with that. But just whatever you do that. But when you don't pay, you gotta go, buddy.
Well, they bring up a good point.
No sex tonight time. No. I know your last slip back move. You don't think me on my neck. I'm next you to stay. Well, that's a song. Fucking y'all don't even know that.
Oh, okay. Chevy Debbie, we just thought you went to your happy place. It's like she remembers the platonic roommate who used to kiss her on her neck.
Someone reel her back in.
And then she'd have to kick him out.
She's flying away like a kite.
But you bring up the issue of if you don't pay the rent, you gotta kick him out. And that brings up what are the rules to having a roommate? And are they written? Are they unwritten? Do we occasionally let people live with us and with the belief of they should just know?
No, it's called understanding. If you stay here, you pay half.
I say,
We ain't got no problem.
you gotta get it in writing. I don't know.
I watch a lot of Judy too.
I'm an attorney, but so you've got to get it in writing. Anytime I haven't gotten something in writing, it always comes back to bite you in the ass. So.
It really
You can
does.
have an oral contract. That is a thing that exists. But I don't know how. Definitely, you should need to get someone on the lease, and that kind of thing. But then I don't know. I think if I ever had another platonic roommate, I would want to have a 10 Commandments or something of rules. But I've never had that written down. But I always get the money stuff in writing.
In most of the situations where it's been, I wasn't going to be on the lease, but I was going to be living there, I got something in writing. Because it was very much that I don't want to come home and you kick me out and you've already taken my money.
Right.
I want something in writing.
No.
On the flip side, as we've all learned, I have 5 cats. I tend to take in strays. And most of the times in my 1-bedroom apartments, I end up having 4 or 5 people just sort of rotate on my couch. And I've never made them sign anything, but I've also had that come back to bite me a little bit.
I've only had a couple instances where I lived with somebody who I didn't already know pretty well beforehand, and so I've only one time have I had anything where something was actually written out on paper to go, this is how this roommate situation is going to work. And it was fine. It was just an element of getting to an agreement with somebody who I didn't know as well. But for the most part, if you're roommates with friends, you've been there. Usually I was at their home or wherever they lived before and kind of saw how they lived and was like, okay, this is somebody who I could live with. I knew what relationships they had going on, if they had relationships going on, or what type of person they were when it came to people spending the night, or whether they flushed or whatever those things were.
You knew what they're like.
Those are my issues. Flush the toilet, but at least put water on your dishes if you're not going to wash them right away.
Wash the ketchup off.
Yeah.
But you can leave it in the sink.
My current roommate is he's just a couple years older than me, but he definitely is. He's definitely been a fan of having women in his life that will take care of him. And so there's a lot of he's just a music producer, and he's used to having the smaller things taken care of by somebody else.
Okay.
And so there's definitely an element now of making sure that when I see him put stuff in the kitchen, that I just kind of follow quietly behind and add them to the sink. But it's whatever, you know what I mean? It's a simple. The situation is fine. It's not like it's a headache deal. It's just one of those things.
My thing is not keep the bathtub cleaned out. You know what I'm saying? In that area where you got to clean up.
So you say cleanliness is a rule, and is that a rule that you would tell them?
I'm just saying clean up behind yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to do the same thing if I got a roommate. But see, I always had the upper hand.
Because it's your house.
My place. Yeah.
It's your house. And you do have more power if it's your house.
Yeah.
Because you can then say, you need to get out. You got 3 days.
No, right now. No
right now.
Days. Get your ass
You don't
out
give them
now.
72 hours.
Get your ass out.
See, I had a friend.
Why does Chevy Debbie live alone now?
How
come you can't? How come you don't have a platonic friend taking half of the rent on it?
See, now we've discussed we have in writing that you pay half or whatever the agreed rent is. We've discussed have respect and clean up after yourself. Mm-hmm. But then there becomes issues of people. All the roommates I've had have eaten my food. And it's been a degree of how much do I tolerate versus dude, you ate my leftover Mexican food and that wasn't even safe the first time around.
Right.
What are you doing? Don't eat my Mexican food. Like, do you discuss that stuff or rules? Like, you've kind of given up on your roommate that you just follow him. It's like, I'll rinse off the ketchup.
Just on that, I mean, that's such a tiny thing for the type of, like, the rest of the world that we live. Like, he's got a music studio that's 4 blocks away that I get to go to and hang out anytime I want and kind of have run of the place and kind of control how that process works. So, like, you know, you wash a little ketchup off as a trade-off. You know, like you make some of those fair trade deals. Like he supplies me with all of the weed that I smoke. So like, you know, you'll wash a dish every now and again. Like, as far as food goes, like I don't think I've ever had an issue with anybody I've ever lived with eating. Like most of my roommates have all been able to at least, you know, find meals for themselves, or have been like, hey, can I eat this and then I'll get something for you later? You know, it's always been pretty reasonable. In fact, I'm usually the one who's like dipping into the kitchen late at night to you know, take a spoonful or two of spiced peanut butter.
Yeah, but my only problem is when I put food in the refrigerator at work, them motherfuckers will steal your shit every time. So I just tell them I spit in my food before I put it in the refrigerator.
Yeah, work is a different situation than at home, but yeah, at work I've had people take my food and I made X-Lax brownies and I had no shame doing it.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things like, who said that was for you?
Aren't we all going to heaven?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to heaven.
I hate sharing anything. So I mean, we have
It's all-
separate food, separate everything. Like, don't touch any of my stuff. I don't even come out of your room if you don't have to. I don't want to share the remote, the TV, the kitchen. I want to cook at the same time. I don't want to share food with you. I don't want to share anything. I was just saying I had a roommate in college. I forgot about this. I wasn't even gonna talk about this. I used to wake up to her rifling through my underwear drawer. She'd be like, I'm out of clean underwear. Can I just wear some of yours today? How do you guys feel about that?
That's a line.
Deal breaker.
That's a line crossed.
That's a deal breaker.
I had a college friend, roommate, who wore my underwear, didn't tell me, and it ended up giving me crabs.
Oh.
He had the sex, I got the
I
fucking
think that's
STD.
you can murder, right? You can murder for that's not legit murder.
That's a legitimate
Stop
excuse to
sure.
murder.
teasing dicks.
I
STD.
was a good enough friend.
I will never stop teasing
If you get an
dicks.
STD, it's not because you just teased the dick. If you get an STD, it's not because you just teased the dick, okay?
Yeah,
You did more than
you didn't tease it.
That
You
was a committed. You were
sat
committed
right
to
on
that
it.
situation.
I was a good enough friend that I actually went to the store, bought a box of red. He came home and I said, you gave me something. I don't want it. Use this. Get rid of it now. And he was gone within a couple weeks, but it was just one of those like, you can't touch my clothes, you can't borrow my stuff. I want to bring it up that I had a friend who was in a roommate situation where he trusted the roommate to handle all the bills. And what I mean by this is like they'd go out to dinner, I guess head roommate or whatever would take the bill and type it into an Excel sheet, put all the bills in there, and then he would divide it by 50% and then say this is your portion. So instead of being like a $500, $1,000 rent, he was paying like $1,500, $200 because all the bills kept mounting up. And
First of all, why are you eating with his ass?
That sounds like you're with somebody who's just bad at that.
Yeah, that sounds like
Yeah.
someone who doesn't understand personal finance.
Was that roommate's name Bernie Madoff? Was that
Paid off with your money.
Because the friend eventually moved in with me and he was like, so how are we going to do grocery shopping? And I'm like, you buy your groceries, I buy mine. What are we going to do about the bills? I show you the bill, you give me half. It's like I'm not going to invoice you, you're responsible for your half. That situation seemed a little bit odd to me too.
Yeah.
See, I've lived with a bunch of friends, and so a lot of times for us, you know, I'll take gas, he'll take electric, and you know, at the end of the month, if the gas is crazy, I'll give him an extra 20 or whatever. Or when it comes to sharing money and groceries and stuff, we're all pretty laid back and sort of like, yeah, I finished your milk, I'll get you another one sometime, or I'll buy your first beer when we're out. We spend enough time together where we know it's going to even out eventually. Like,
so you have a kind of community.
Yeah, we've got a, like when I moved in with my current roommate, he already had a housekeeper that would come, and so to avoid, because what normally happens is the housekeeper bill gets a little higher because she brings in a bunch of supplies and things like that, like toilet paper and laundry detergent. She's a good housekeeper. But so I decided, well, here's what I'll do. Instead of like giving you money for the housekeeper, I'll go out and like keep replenishing and stocking up the supplies in the house. So I make sure
Okay,
I've got
that's
the
good
basic.
working out.
So toothpaste is always there, toilet paper is always there, laundry detergent's always there, you know, paper towels are always there, and then he just pays the housekeeper, and then everything just works out fine. But
When I get rich, I'm gonna get me a housekeeper too.
I just want to let you guys know.
Yeah.
I
I
think
hope she don't
housekeeper
steal
would
though,
know
because I
that.
got a lot
Yeah,
of shit in
that's,
my
I
house.
want to be
I clean
housekeeper
my
rich.
toilets.
That's my one goal in life. Is
You
I
know,
want
pretty
someone
much-
else
You don't want
to.
nobody really over your
I'm
stuff,
never
you know?
gonna dust ever.
So we have come to the conclusion that if you are setting house rules, it's writing or not writing depends on what your relationship is.
Absolutely.
But make sure you specify
Half.
you pay half the
Half,
rent, or
Eddie.
you pay $600, you pay $700, and life is a lot easier with housekeepers.
Absolutely.
And always
Yes.
take care of yourself. Just watch out for your own back. You know, like
Yeah.
people are gonna try to pull over on you unless you're, smart enough to pull over on them.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then always have the upper hand, put their ass out.
Yeah, like always keep the upper hand.
Sherry
That's
Daddy
great
likes to
advice.
kick people out of her house. I think that's your like
Yeah,
goal.
yeah, you walk around, don't be farting up in here. I'm the only one farting in here.
Solid rules, Kevin.
Chevy Debbie lives alone, and she'll be the only one handling that gas bill.
That's right. Free gas.
We're gonna take a break. Thank you. And we're back, and I'm still Thomas Bottoms, and this is still the offensive line. Now we're going to continue this, and now we're going to share some really bad roommate stories. Now, something I always realize with roommate stories, though, is it depends on who you're living with, whether or not it's bad behavior. Like my first roommate in college, he was legally blind, but he loved to wake up in the morning and blare his toto, his sticks. And I'm the only white person I know who hates Journey. But it was his house, and it was okay. But when I moved into a place where it was both of us on the lease, and I started waking up in the morning, blaring my R. Kelly, my Madonna, whatever I felt like playing that morning, or night, or 3 o'clock, it doesn't matter. The bars were open late. That was not good. Who was right there? Is that right? It's like, Thomas, that story sucked, and there's nothing
I think
really
it's
to
super
build off
rude
of.
that you're like denying a legally blind man like one of his senses. Like, oh, he played music loud.
Fuck you and your
Did
hearing.
he also have a lot of Febreze so he could smell stuff? I mean, he didn't have.
Well,
he
this
didn't
he
have
wasn't on.
senses
A very
left.
tactile walls
Let
with
him
a
have-
stucco in there. So you
I
He
did
but
not
Tom
do
Jackson
that.
man uses
You
part
use
of
your eyes to
electricity. I mean,
consume
he's not
different
using the lights. Tom,
I,
he have to have some music. He's not
Yeah,
using
use the
lights.
lights.
So that's his part on the light.
I just like how the thing that you had a problem with you then enforced on your own. You were like, I hated the fact this guy played music, so when I got my own place, I did the exact same thing to other people.
yes!
Yeah.
Revenge, payback,
To
karma.
That's not pay. You didn't get the
Revenge
guy back though. You got somebody else
That's
pissed off.
true.
So did your other roommate then hate your loud music or not?
Yes,
Or
he did. He was like,
okay.
Thomas, don't blare your music at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I just got home from the bar. Don't. Like, I felt that was
Yeah.
a justifiable excuse.
I think it sounds like you hate blind people and you will fuck with roommates and play shitty music really
Sounds
loud.
about right.
That's what it
too.
sounds like
That's
to
what
me
I
too,
learned.
That
Nat.
sounds like
Yeah.
Thomas.
This is not a bragging thing, but I did get warned. I had a roommate. The roommate that the only roommate that I had something written in paper on because she was a friend of a friend, and that's how we originally met. I didn't really know her personally, and so like when we moved in, I went over first, and we had a night where we just hung out and drank wine and talked to just kind of discuss how we wanted to have.
Did you fuck her?
I did not actually.
Oh.
I know. I feel
Was
pretty.
she lesbian?
No, she was
Oh,
straight.
okay.
I feel sad about that too. You know, I feel like I missed an opportunity, and I hate missing those. But anyway, I did get a couple of emails from her throughout the time that I lived there because the bedroom wall is connected, and like I don't have a headboard, but I did have some loud friends, and so that was a couple things I had emails about.
She wanted to come over and join you. You wouldn't let her.
Yeah,
You wrong
I
for
She
that,
was just
Bob.
jealous.
If she knew me well enough to know that everyone's invited, so.
Oh.
It wasn't just like, I know how to yell Bobby
Yeah, I mean,
too.
I closed the door, but I didn't lock it. You know what I mean?
I
See, you guys have empathy for my blind roommate, but this blind roommate stole men from me. Had an that men would. This was back where
Better
we
sympathy
didn't have
situation.
cell phones, so people would call the house asking for me, he was like, "Oh, Thomas isn't here. How are you doing? You sound upset." And then he would invite them over and bang them. And then when I would get home, it was expected that I would still talk. It's like, you're leaving my roommate's bedroom. I don't think we should date anymore.
That sounds completely
Our friends are
logical
made
to
to
me.
fuck each
It
other.
sounds like he was just better than you, Tom.
No, he's not.
Now I'm even sadder for you than I was when we started telling the story.
He's blind.
Friends are
He's
made to
just
fuck each
using
other.
your judgment to make sure all of his boy toys are hot.
You let some blind ass
You
man
so
steal
don't
your
know my
men.
type.
Friends are made to fuck each other.
Debbie would like to make a point.
Yeah,
Friends are made to fuck each other.
There you go.
I think that's
Friends
a
are made
solid
to
deal.
fuck each other.
Yeah, that's that song that
You know, they
Tim
come
Morris
up that
sang,
this my play sister.
That's another
This
song.
my play brother. What y'all playing with each other, dicks and pussies? I know y'all fucking. Get out of here talking about y'all play brothers and sisters.
As long as you pay half, it's cool though, right, Debbie?
Yeah, only play you have. Only fuck.
Debbie says fuck your sister as long as you pay half.
I ain't say all that, but close to that.
Fuck your close sister.
So Murphy, you've been a little bit quiet.
Well, it's
Let's
just,
say
it's
something.
just that I'm always the shitty roommate.
Oh, you're the shitty
yeah,
roommate.
It's just
Okay.
that, like,
Okay.
in any roommate situation I've been in, everyone else is
You're
like,
like
how
such
do
a
you
nice
live
guy.
with that guy?
That's
And
what
I'm
I'm
just
saying. Like, you are so nice. Like, what are you doing?
here's the thing, is I grew up with a mom who struggled with obsessive compulsive disorder, so I wasn't allowed to leave fingerprints on the doorknobs and the countertops, which is where fingerprints go, and we weren't allowed to leave footprints in the carpet because it was vacuumed too nicely. So I grew up like with just this huge aversion to cleaning. So everyone's like, "Murphy, you don't clean it up enough," and I'm like, "Emotional trauma, I don't have to anymore." It's a great trump card, and then there's like, "Fine, I'll vacuum a little bit more." Murphy, that pile of dishes is way too high. Well, yeah, my mom sucked a little bit.
Trigger
So
warning.
yeah, come on, man, deal with me. So,
All right.
It's a great
Okay,
trump card.
I'm glad you followed that up because I was scared that our recording studio had a little bit too much dust, cat fur, and mystery
Something's
items
going on.
for
I'm
you.
itching now. What the hell is going on?
It's all the roommates you've been hanging out with.
Now, Natalie, what
Yeah.
bad roommates have you dealt with?
Yeah, I think my favorite is when I moved in with my own stalker. I didn't know that.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
That's a really good stalker.
That's a CBS episode.
Yeah,
right
it's a
there.
Lifetime movie waiting to happen. No, I had known him for about 3 years, and we had mutual friends, and I had been laid off from a job, and I was struggling, and he was just like, "Hey, I've got this huge 3-bedroom apartment. Move in. You'll have your own room. There's plenty of space for all of us. $400 a month, which is like the cheapest
Wow,
rent on the
right.
planet, because this was
Can you
not that
suck
long
me?
ago."
That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, you say that now. But then you know, and we had a talk. I go, you know, we're just going to be friends. We're just going to be roommates. Nothing's going to happen, like that kind of thing. And I moved in, and I have the same mover that I've used forever. I'll give him a plug, Julio from Precious Cargo.
Love
Hi,
him, baby.
Julio.
Love him, baby.
I love that man. Anybody needs a mover, I'll give you his email address. He's amazing. So
Be his roommate.
well, he has a wife and kids and whatever.
You
but I
know
would
that
go live
woman.
with them. Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
know that woman.
Anyway.
He's great. But anyways,
High five.
Stalker
Shelby.
roommate
High
still in
five.
play.
He's moving me.
She ain't doing her job.
Okay, hold up. She has accidentally moved in with her stalker roommate.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But Julio right away was like, "You're not gonna stay here." I go, "Of course I am. It's $400. Like, it's the best deal ever." And yeah, right away it was like he was stalking me on Facebook. Like, I could take a picture of, like, you know, the Bean at Millennium Park, and he'd be like, "Who the fuck is that dude?" I'm like, "Who's that dude at the Bean? I don't know. Like, I'm not even in the photo. Like, there's a million people here at the Bean. Like, I don't know which one it is." And he would do things like get my schedule for the week, and then always be home when I was home. And he'd cook me dinner, so I would come home
What
to
a
him like
sweetheart.
Yeah.
sitting in a bathrobe at like 11 p.m. at night with like, no, like the dinner was like cold and like covered in foil. You could just like turn on like one single like overhead light, like, "Where have you been?" You know? And it was just like food was just sitting there. And then I'd wake up to him watching me sleep.
Oh no.
Oh, well,
Oh God.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
We
that's
jumped to
bad.
conclusions.
Now we're into a
That's our
different- yeah,
bad.
there's a
That's our
problem.
bad.
My
Yeah.
bad.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I'd wake up. He had 2 cats, and the cats were nice, so I'd let them sleep with me. And he's like, "We gotta leave your door open so the cats can get out to get water."
Right.
I was like, "Okay." Yeah, no, it was for him to get in and watch me sleep. And then
That's premeditated, by the way.
Yeah,
That's
I-
not a thing where you're like, oh, by the
They're
way, let me
probably
just...
gonna do something bad to you.
Oh, I know,
You
so
gonna
that-
watch,
TikTok.
Yeah.
I'd wake up and he'd say something like, "I'm going to Dunkin' Donuts. Do you want a hot chocolate?" I'm like, at 3 o'clock in the morning? Like, no, I don't.
Absolutely.
No.
You don't turn down hot chocolate.
Yes.
Oh my god. Well, I'll give you his
Don't
number.
be wanting some
You
hot
guys can
juicy
go.
pussy.
Don't say no to the person who's watching you sleep. Like that's just lifetime
He's watching
movie
that
101.
high juice
Especially when he's
right
offering
there.
to leave the room. Right. I'm gonna go. Would you like something?
Right.
Yes. Anything?
Yes, I would like anything that would cause you to be gone. Would you be gone longer if you had to do that?
Do you know a locksmith that can get here in 20
Yeah.
minutes?
And I'm watching that hot juicy pussy, okay? Hot juicy pussy.
Like
It's pretty
last
juicy.
time, we are playing porn to make sure that we know to look at the camera and stare in its
And they
general
actually
direction.
showing a dick on this porn.
Yeah,
The
this
other
one has a very,
Well, it's not
very,
cinema.
very attractive gentleman.
He a
And,
deep throat, ain't he?
He looks like Tony Danza.
He does kind of look like
Yeah.
Tony
Like,
Danza,
Lucy
and I will be his
But he
Judith
like
Light,
Linda
and
Blair,
can
he
tell
got
me
deep
who's the
throat.
boss.
I think it is Tony Danza.
It's Tony
Tony Danza used to do porn. And
Did
he?
had a
Well, it looks exactly.
he had a signature move, the Danza slap.
Every
No, you're kidding right
Yeah. No, I
now. Oh, then he's doing
Don't
it.
have me Google
every
this
famous
shit.
Italian TV and movie star. used
either
to do
that or
porn.
it's an urban legend because
He's
this guy looks
Danza
like Tony
slapping her.
Danza.
See, it's the
One of the
Sylvester
two. You remember
Stallone.
Sandwich is an urban legend.
See how
Sylvester
easy we get away
Stallone
from
did
stalking
a porn.
if we're not careful? This is how we get stalked, ladies and gentlemen. We drop our guard from
Drop
porn
your
in the
guard.
midst of a stalking story.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden we're talking about Tony Danza, who, by the way, should not be mentioned on any show or podcast ever.
Yeah. So
Maybe
anyway,
he'll sue us.
every day it was just like relentless. He was doing something like following me or memorizing my schedule or making me food or stalking me on Facebook or watching me sleep. And so I lasted about 45 days. And he went on a work trip to New York and then called me obsessively from New York because he thought I was going to move out and started crying and told me he'd get back on his
That's somebody who
meds.
knows better.
Yeah.
Oh,
He was off his meds.
situation.
How would there
and-
not be a med situation?
Yeah.
So you moved, didn't you?
Stupid.
So while he was in New York, I
He
kept
didn't kill you, did he?
he did kill me. I'm a ghost. No, yeah, and then
That really the go.
no, and so yeah, while he was gone, I called Julio, and Julio was like, "I told you." Like, it was just like 4 hours of "I told you so" from Julio.
You should let
Thanks,
Julio
Julio.
get it one time. You know what I mean? Just-
I'm not letting him. He hasn't.
He's faithful
He
to
has-
his
Well,
Yeah,
have you
I
heard
think
from
he's
him
a-
since?
Julio?
No, damn man, you
Stalker
good.
guy.
The stalker guy.
Stalker guy ever get in contact
You
and
know
be like,
what?
yo, I fucked up?
He left me alone. I left him a couch, and I felt like in a note, and I felt like we were even. And
Yeah, you didn't need to leave the couch.
The couch
you were
was
even
gone.
with
She was like,
no
you know what?
notes.
Well,
and
Sip
just-
was on the goddamn couch. He needed something from her. Her scent
Exactly,
was on-
exactly, yeah.
She had farted
I was
on
like,
that couch
scratch
about
and
a time.
sniff.
I just
Yeah.
imagine that guy laying on that couch just sniffing
Ugh.
so hard right
Oh,
now.
Her ass used to be right
So
here.
tied up on that
I'm never
couch.
gonna leave this couch.
Where exactly was
Well, this
her
bench will be
vagina
available
on
after
this-
the film. You
All right, well, with you.
guys get in there.
See, I've
It's hot today.
had
This is
a
a test, I think.
I've had a lot of bad roommates that like we would be mutual friends, but we were friends and we had some mutual friends and then we had some friends who outright hated him, but they liked me. And I had a housewarming party before he moved in. And they gave me a bottle of wine and and chocolates. And like a month later, this roommate friend ended up moving in, and he ate the damn chocolates. And that angered me because you didn't like the person who gave me that. That was my chocolates. It's like he wasn't your friend, he's my friend, not mine.
You don't mess with them.
That's mine. No.
That's just like when you got some drugs and shit, you know, don't fuck with me.
Yeah, don't touch my drugs. Don't touch my drugs, don't touch my money.
Yeah,
That's
you gotta.
Yes.
Everybody's got their stuff that you gotta figure out. You just don't go near it.
Well, I have a standard, like, no going in someone's room without request policy. It's like,
Yeah,
I will not go into your bedroom unless you've specifically said, I want you to go into my bedroom and look for something in this place. And by that same token, that way I can expect that you should never go in my bedroom and look for something unless I've explicitly said, go in there and look for a thing, because
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what you may be offended by or what you may have a problem with, but it's probably in my bedroom. So
I've always lived by the philosophy is if you go snooping and you find something that upsets you, that's on you. That's not my fault. So if you find my journal and you read about the asshole didn't even do dishes again, I'm tired of his chili mac. and that morally offended you, well, don't read my journal.
I did have that
Yeah,
situation.
if you snoop, you can't say
A lot of
anything.
people aren't as big as you, Thomas.
I did have that situation happen. I had a friend who was dating, who dated a girl when we lived in Chicago. They broke up. We moved to LA. We were roommates there. We were roommates in Los Angeles. I had gone back to Chicago to visit repeatedly since then, and had ran into the girl. And in a drunken night or two, things happened at her place. And then we had and so we had been emailing back and forth. And so my friend grabbed my laptop to use it one day while I was out running around, and didn't really say anything to me first. And I just got a message like, "Hey bud, I picked up your laptop to do some emailing, and I noticed your Gmail account was open, and there was an email from this girl," which I then opened and read about some things, and we need to have a talk when you get home.
I don't believe
and that
that.
was a
Don't
slow
give me all
end
that
to
shit.
that friendship.
Yeah, that seems like.
Which was, it was partially my fault for not being upfront and saying, hey, this was a thing that happened, but it was also his fault for picking up my phone.
For snooping.
Yeah,
I'm snooping.
But that's just like opening up your goddamn mail. You ain't gonna pay that damn light bill. Why you open up my fucking mail?
I have no idea what
As the shitty roommate, you gotta know what you're doing. You borrow someone's laptop. You don't go anything you're not intending to use. You get out. You clear your history, or you. Well, then they would know.
I'm a strong
I'm not
believer
really
of just
sure.
like, you just log out of everything. If someone says you can use whatever it is of theirs, you log out of anything that's open so that immediately you don't have any idea of what's going on.
I do that too, guys. I have let roommates use my computer, but it's one of those things that all my accounts, none of the passwords are saved.
Right.
Because I do not know where this computer is 24 hours a day, and I do not want you to have access. Now that did lead to people using my computer to look at porn, and just like in college when I got the STD and the crabs, because if someone stole my underwear, someone gave my computer a virus too. On that note, we're now going to take a break.